Today is still July 12th, 2026. These people, and I'm telling you what, where that investigator showed up last week at that church, and where those girls, that prostitute and her family, Katie's family, has made fools out of law enforcement and everyone. Fools. You need to all stop going down the rabbit hole of insanity with these people and saying they can break laws. And they should be arrested. Yesterday, I had said, I was talking to Carl, my new husband, in the car, and I said, I'm to the point, when law enforcement says something around me, if I can look up what is a jail sentence for it, and it gives the laws and the codes that they go to jail for it, don't bring me ridiculous scenarios unless you arrested them. Don't bring me ridiculous scenarios. And they said they were dying laughing when she said that. Don't say ridiculous scenarios unless you arrested them. Because they're making fools out of you. Fools. Absolute fools. Where last week at that church, these girls went, the mind reader said she's weird inside. Do you realize you look like a fucking moron? I go over and I sit down. Some guy comes out of nowhere. They won't say anything to her while she's in here. She had enough courage to walk in here. And she's working. They won't say a word. A few minutes later, girls walk by. Some guy said never to say a word to her again. Some prostitute was laughing in a restaurant. How they scammed everyone. And she's been stealing all the money from the case. And she was laughing at everyone. Do not go down the rabbit hole of these people's stupidity that are just scamming you. Well, last week, some Stark County sheriffs were talking. She doesn't know what's going on. Some psychiatrist is paying people to follow around and call in and write it up. She's insane. I Googled what is a jail sentence. So why didn't you arrest him? Don't bring it to my attention unless you arrest him. I don't have a psychiatrist. I don't care who you are. You cannot hire stalkers. And what is it considered? Health fraud. Wire fraud for electronic transactions. Communication. Hiring stalkers. Stalkers and menacing. Did you get them? The ones calling in saying stuff? Did you tell them if they call or follow me again that you'll arrest them for stalking and menacing? And harassing me? Did you arrest that doctor for fraud? I don't have a psychiatrist, so did you arrest them? If I can find the codes and I can find the laws, they go to jail. Don't bring it to my attention unless you arrested them. They said the investigators were dying laughing when I said that in the car yesterday. Well, it's just like these people are so dumb. They don't know one law. Not one law. One of their scenarios, a doctor from before was willing to talk to him. Okay, do you want to know what the jail sentence is? What is a jail sentence for a doctor willing to talk to a so-called attorney's office that's an opposing attorney to mine? Both lose their license. Did you call the Bar Association? Did you call the medical board? Report them so they lost their license immediately? for breaking federal HIPAA violations? Did you? Stealing medical records, then is flat out fraud? Did you arrest them? Because when I looked, they get 20 to 30 years. Did you arrest them? One of their scenarios was, okay, now I'm going to tell you one more time how I got sick, how I got well. Okay? And then where that Altman Stack here at Louisville doctor walked in a room. Now my phone's bugged by the FBI and police. They have admitted to listening through my phone when I'm in different places, so they got him. Where June 29, 26, after he got done with Carl, checking him out, he walks in a room. I didn't notice before her legs are crooked. She does, I looked it up, she does have degenerative joint disease. And I looked up all those doctors from before are wrote up as fraud. Medical malpractice and medication errors. I seen what happened, that her whole body swelled up. She had seizures, heart attacks, thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. No wonder those other doctors thought she was dying. There is no excuse they didn't pull her off all those medication. They almost killed her. No wonder everything is wrote up as fraud. You do know they told the police and the FBI that everything's fraud. They also got it out of Dave. He was letting one of his girlfriends use my insurance. Right? Now, we're going to put it this way, where they made up this scenario. One of the doctors from before, Dave paid off to write up, she's insane. What is wrong with that? Can they be in it with Dave? No, it's HIPAA. Can they write up fraud for Dave? No. Can they discuss me with Dave? No. Is mental insanity curable? No, it's a deep brain injury. And what is the law called Personal Liberty Law of 1867? Where stupid, dumbass men like Dave were paying dirty doctors off. They took it out of the doctor's hands and turned it over to the state. It is mandatory. If you think somebody's mentally ill, they have to be transferred to a state hospital. They have to be treated. They get a hold of the courts. Mandatory, you have a competency hearing. And it takes a jury trial. Now, can Dave just pay off a dirty doctor to write up fraud? No, they go to jail. Can that dirty doctor be willing to talk to him? Their crazy scenarios? No. The doctor goes to jail, and so do they. Let's see, stealing medical records, HIPAA violations, fraud, healthcare fraud. Don't bring me crazy scenarios unless you arrested them. Don't want to hear them. Half my medical records where we got all these, back then you didn't have to show ID to go to the doctor. Didn't have to show anything. Go in, they took you for who you were. People used to have surgeries on other people's insurance unless they died or needed blood transfusion. People were getting away with it. You didn't have medical coverage. You just go in with other person's information, fill it out, and they treated you. They did surgeries. They did everything. And identity theft may be big now. It was really big back then. It was on the news, everything. Well, Dave got a job at my dad's factory within a few months. Started getting medical bills, not mine. Started trying to fight him. Couldn't prove it wasn't me because you don't show ID. And then Kay said, there's rumors of you cheating on Karen. Heavyset white brown woman showing up. And said, he told me, he said, Karen, where I confronted him with that. He said, Karen, why would I cheat on you? with a heavy-set, fat, white, brown woman. Here it's his girlfriend. From before me. Him and her scamming me. The FBI got it out of him March 27, 25. He said, I'm always at work, besides when I'm with you. Well, we all know he don't stay at work. And we fought him. And he said, if we don't pay those co-pays, they'll put me in jail. I was 18, 19 and stupid, thinking, well, he is always at work. And I told my brother, I said, get me proof and I'll leave him. Well, back then the phone was on the wall with a long cord. We didn't have cell phones. Couldn't carry a camera around a hot rubber factory. And I kept saying, get me proof and I'll leave him. And he wouldn't get me proof. Dave's calling him all a liar. Oh, they're just trying to break us up. And here it's him and his girlfriend scamming me. For 15 years, half my medical records are some other woman's. They got it out of Dave. It was actually a girlfriend from before me. He let her use my insurance for 15 years. Now, like I said, it's right on Google. Mental insanity and mental illness is not curable. It's a deep brain injury. Now I've already talked to an attorney, Kathy Stoneman. You have to be treated at a state psychiatric hospital, the Personal Liberty Law of 1867. I already knew that with the people I take care of. They get a hold of the courts. And it is law that you have a competency hearing. They took it out of the doctor's hands and put it into the state. They can't just write up fraud because your husband handed them a bunch of money. They can't be in it with your husband. They can't be willing to talk about you. These are federal crimes, and they can't just write up fraud. And then something not curable. It's like you can stop your stupid ass behavior. Stop going down the rabbit hole of that prostitute and her family pulling scams on people. Now, I've never been in a state psychiatric hospital. I have never had a competency hearing, and I've never been found insane. I was a victim of a lot of medical malpractice, though, and medical fraud. And they almost killed me. See, that's where the investigators were afraid. They paid those doctors off to kill me, and it wasn't just negligence, but it was attempted murder. See, that's where I was down at the Tuscarawas Sheriff's, and somebody was talking to them. Those doctors were so negligent before. It's wrote up as negligence. They were too stupid to figure out her muscles just locked up, gave her a bunch of wrong medication, falsely diagnosed her, and almost killed her. They told my community health, told Officer Mark and the FBI in 18 that everything but my muscles locking up is documented fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors, and they almost killed me. What is a jail sentence for your doctor being in it with an opposing attorney willing to talk about you? Both lost a license immediately. Health care fraud, HIPAA violation. Wire fraud if they transfer electronically. And then it goes into extortion and exploiting your patients. And they got about 30 years. You arrested them, right? If I can find a law, what is a jail sentence to this scenario? You arrested them, right? Don't bring it to my attention. Your doctor cannot talk to an opposing attorney. They can't blab their mouth about you, let alone say a bunch of fraud. And say they're willing to work with them. My God, since when are doctors allowed to exploit their patients? They're not. Being it with a cheating ex-husband, gonna destroy the wife for the husband. Come on now. Stop going down the rabbit hole of that crazy prostitute. See, they had a scenario. You'll love this one. A doctor from before taped her unaware, confessing a crime, sat on it until Dave wanted a divorce. What is wrong with that? It is illegal for a doctor to tape you unaware. It's a HIPAA violation. It's 10 years loss of license. If they know someone's being harmed, they are required by federal law to report it to the police. Or they go to jail as an accessory if they can prove it. They can't be in it with Dave. See what I mean? Don't go down the rabbit hole. Dave told Danny when he called him April 16th, 23. When I called and he was talking to Gabe and Shay across the parking lot, I went to get in my car. And I looked up, he was real loud. He's like, I finally went to Dad, asked him what on earth is going on. He said he'd hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete and his men in our home before. Pete has her frame. Pete has her tape, the filthy, dirty statement. Not a doctor. Nor have I ever met this Pete. He's a black and blue mark. The drugs and told to say it. A drug dealer. Like the prostitute said. June 26, 26. The drug dealers we hired to do this to her taped her in the shower, washing herself. Photoshopped that in the other room to make fun of her. Ha 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 ha. So who was in my home? Dave said they hired some guy named Pete and his man. Drug dealers. Drug dealers did it. Like Officer Mark, August 22nd of 23. This document verified she was framed before, and it was a drug cartel in her home before we seen him. Drug cartel did this. Not a doctor. Now, I'm going to tell you how I got sick and how I got well real quick. I had endometriosis. I didn't know I had it. One day, I doubled over screaming. Dave rushed me to the hospital. He did an emergency appendectomy. I got a 5-inch scar. And he said it didn't look bad, but the way she's screaming, I took it out. Couldn't risk it. A couple months later, I'm screaming again. They said, have you ever been checked for cysts? I went, what's that? I was full of them. I didn't have one. I was full of them. And they were growing and exploding. You talk about excruciating. They had to go through my belly button and around it till I have thick scars. They tried burning treatment, medication, caused kidney stones. Had to have stents put it in and out of my kidneys. It got so bad my uterus flipped over. They had to do a lower hysterectomy. A couple months later, they were in my ovaries, screaming again. They said, you got a cyst as big as a golf ball. It burst, you're dead. The other one has little ones popping. Had to cut me side to side and take my ovaries out. Then my gallbladder went bad a couple months later from all that. And then scar tissue formed in a ball and they had to take it out. My muscles are quenched 2 to 2.5 years. Had all those surgeries. Okay? One day I start bleeding heavy. Go into the hospital, and one of those kidney stones had kinked the kidney tube. They had to cut me 5 inches on my back. 5 inches. And take out the damaged part of the kidney tube and then fix it. That's when my muscles clenched. I was in excruciating pain. The muscles at times would raise up like a mother that is expecting, that the foot would push through the mother's skin, the baby, but it'd be a muscle raising up, and the blood vessels underneath would break, and I would bleed down my stomach or leg through my skin. I have red freckles on my legs and stomach where they were clenching to the point blood vessels were breaking under my skin. I was desperate for help. Started going to different doctors. I went to this one doctor. They gave me medication. My feet started swelling. I'm like, is it the medication? No, you have underlying conditions. No, I didn't. Give me more medication. Sent me to more doctors. More swelling. And then I started having seizures. Started having heart attacks. Thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. I went from 105 to 270 in less than 2 years. I was dying from medical malpractice. I have degenerative joint disease, found on an MRI. Swelling under my knees, swelling beside my legs, torn muscle where the violent falls, where my knees from the fluid would just go out of place. I had the one diagnosis. It means microscopic fractures. The orthopedic doctor would drain turkey-based syringes of fluid out from under my knee and put steroids in. He gave me canes and braces to hold my knees together. And so I went and fall. Okay? They were lying so bad. They said that I had level 2 brain tumors, pituitary tumors. Wanted to take my pituitary gland out. Okay? I go into my community health for, I let them remove part of my brain. Now I'm huge, I'm swollen. I'm dying from medical malpractice. And I tell them that. They want to take part of my brain out. She's like, whoa, we need to have a long talk what those doctors are doing. The only thing's wrong with you is your muscles locked up. You got the golden ticket insurance company. I said, what's that? Pays for almost anything. Everything. They're known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, making them sick, sharing them with their associates and friends doing the same thing. Getting kickbacks from the drug companies for writing out those big prescriptions. Now they've made you so sick they're wanting to do unnecessary procedures. You're not the first one and not the only one I've heard of those doctors doing this to. It's a medication making you sick. Get off of it. You'll be fine. The only thing that's wrong with you is your muscles locked up. Well, of course, I have arthritis and a PAV on my heart. But what was wrong with me then was my muscles clenched from all those surgeries. And then she's like, they've almost killed you. They have been defrauding you, giving you the wrong mats, and they have almost killed you. Now they want to do unnecessary procedures. Get an attorney, sue them, turn over the state to pull their license. Will represent you in court. Encouraged us to sue them for years. Everything's documented as fraud. Everything but my muscles locking up. Medication errors and medical malpractice. They were all just ripping me off. Almost killed me. Okay? I went to Dr. Eli. He agreed. He said, but the only way you can get muscles that are clenched to unlock is to move them. And he said, you can't even move. You're in so much pain. He put me on fentanyl patches, muscle relaxers, and breakthrough Vicodins if it got too bad. First month, I lost 30 pounds. I started in like September to October of 2002. Lost 30 pounds. Second month, I tried to pull myself around stores and malls. Ended up in so much pain in the hospital. By the end of the second month, the seizures, the heart attack stopped. Thyroid, adrenal gland started working. By the third month, I could drive a car. My legs were still swollen, and I'd take my canes and my braces, and I would pull myself up and down stores, streets, malls. I did my own grocery shopping. And at home, I would try to walk without my braces at times, and I'd take one step, fall on my face, 2 steps, fall on my ass, cry and crawl over to the couch and pull up. It was horrifying. And my mom would break all over me. Karen, you made it 6 steps. Karen, you made it 5. And I'd fall, and I'd just have tears running down my face. Cry and crawl over to the couch and pull myself up. It was horrifying. She'd go to church. Karen made it 4 steps. Karen made it 6 steps. And she'd break all over me. Okay? By April of 2003, I'm almost well. Okay? May 3rd, 2003, we're all at home. Dave's changing carpets in different rooms. Kept the kids home from a baseball game to help him. Brian shows up and says, Brian Laney said, that church baseball game. And we're like, yeah. Said, well, I hate to tell you, Phil and Tyler are dead. What do you mean they're dead? John grabs his phone and runs out of the house. And he said a bunch of them were running late. Bill was one of the first vehicles heading up there. He was going so fast. Everybody couldn't believe he didn't even try to stop. Blew through a stop sign into a semi. It was like an explosion. He was ripped into pieces, and Tyler was ejected through the air, slammed onto the floor, and they're both instantly dead. Onto the pavement, and instantly dead. I had my braces on because I was going up and down the steps. I didn't want to fall. And Brian watched me waddle like a penguin of don't fall, because I didn't have my canes with me to go out and make sure John was okay. He was in his vehicle. He rolled down his window. And I said, are you okay? He said, Mom, they're really dead. I said, are you okay? And he said, they're really dead. And I said, are you okay? He said, yes, I want to talk to my friend. So I waddled back. Brian seen me out waddling in just my braces in May. June, I got my fentanyl patches refilled. And then in July, I finally got it well enough. I still fell for a few more months, here and there. It was hard learning balance after, the whole thing was like 4 or 5 years. Took me 9 or 10 months to get well. Okay? My sister Linda, I told you, she was out in like 2001. Found her husband with this girl named Katie. And she started following him. And they're cheating. I had my mom follow him. I had my sister Lori follow him. They're cheating. We're waiting for her to say something. She won't say anything. We even sat around one night and talked. Why won't she say something? Well, she hasn't worked in over 20 years. Maybe she doesn't think she can support herself. And if she's not willing to say anything, we all decide to stay out of it. It's her choice. She knows her husband's cheating. If she wants to live in an open marriage, that's her problem. Okay? November 2003. 6 months after a traffic accident. I had nothing to do with it. They had nothing to do with what happened to me. Okay? Linda comes up to me at church. I saw him again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry. Be careful. Runs off. I'm like, thanks. Great. How am I going to explain this one? I'm not supposed to know anything. And that's when he took my son and pushed him to suicide. And made up that lie and called me a faker. It takes a moron to fall for that. I talked to a criminal attorney, you can't fake that shit. It's like, no, you can't. It's documented fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. They almost killed me. Like that Louisville Almondstadt care doctor, I looked her up, everything is documented fraud. Medical malpractice and medication errors, and they almost killed her. They told the FBI and the police that in 18. One of the investigators said those doctors better thank God we didn't find out about that fraud. Because if we would have found out about it back then, those doctors would have still be in jail. Now, there's something with that Henry Maffei. I told you, the first month of the case, okay, I had an Instagram account. I got a message, hi, I think you're beautiful. It's like, thanks. Something about love on a beach, something else. I don't know him from Adam. I don't know him at all. I go out to the stores, people are showing up saying that they work for Judge Peters, they're from Florida, they're drug traders and human traffickers. Okay? Watch them go out and get in their vehicle. And then at times, that guy's picture that looked like the one from Instagram, there's a guy with him. People are starting to talk about a Henry Maffei in stores that are part of Judge Peters' group, that are showing up and saying stuff. I don't know him from Adam. Okay? January 1926, where these people yell threats in stores. Okay? I said, you know, I am an FBI informant. I am in immunity for life. They can kiss the FBI's ass, the judge's ass that signed the court order. And they can kiss my government immunity, government informant, government protected informant ass. I'm tired of them. I turned on MC Hammer, You Can't Touch This, and Carl and I start dancing around in the car as I'm driving, you know, You Can't Touch This, did it, yeah. And I hadn't even heard the riffraff people say anything about him a long time, so I figured the cops got him where he took off. I don't know him from Adam. We go in Bob Evans, and here he's been listening, and it pissed the hell out of him. Carl had to go to the bathroom. I go in, and I sit down. And there's a guy that looks like the guy from Instagram from years ago, but a lot thinner. He's in there. He said, I'm the one that got a hold of her online. I thought, you do look like that picture, but a lot thinner. He said, with those text messages, I proved she was cheating. That's not cheating. That's you being a weirdo. I don't know you. He said, I tell all men she's not good enough for another man, and I'm glad I never met her in person. I thought, fuck you, and you wouldn't have got a pity date. You're as ugly as a horse's ass. He said the officers that watch her for the case only watch her because they feel sorry for her. I thought they liked me, and there's a court order. And he said, I'm the one that told her new husband's family that they could threaten his life and steal everything from him. Found out his son was down there vandalizing stuff on the farm. Told him, stay out of it. I'll steal everything for them. You cannot rob 80-year-old people. You freak. Now, the other Michelle, there's another Michelle that was dating an agent. Okay? And he was dating her on a ruse to get her information out of her. He got it out of her March 27th, 25. After a minute, he was outside. And he said, I broke up with Michelle tonight. She confessed to me that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. And when they crushed it in her head, they tried to kill her and leave her incompetent. And it didn't work. And as soon as she told me, I broke up with her. Got it out of her ex-husband that a girlfriend from before made him marry her so he could get a job at her dad's factory, and she'd have free insurance to use. And I got it out of that family. I asked him, why on earth would you say 6 months later it offended you when Strange called her a faker and she had nothing to do with that traffic accident? Said they were all lying to the FBI when they were in there. Didn't even concern him. Lisa's father killed her kid and she wasn't even there. They were just lying to help him out. Okay? Well, Carl seen that other Michelle have a meltdown April 17th, 25 in Sheetz parking lot. I called the police up there, and she's screaming it in the parking lot. They said, how dumb was I? Telling that guy that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. And when they bashed in her head, they tried to kill her, leave her incompetent. And soon as I told that guy, he broke up with me, and I really liked him, and I wanted to marry him. They said he's an agent and she's an informant, and we all could end up in jail for this. The whole parking lot heard. Okay? Carl's hard of hearing, and he heard the whole thing. She was having that big of a meltdown. Well, April 24th, 25, Summit Mall. The Texas group is up there. The Muslims. And they said, you tell that guy in Will that was to pull a scam off here? That's all wrong. The other Michelle told on him that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. You tell him we said to take care of her. The whole scam's ruined. They started threatening to kill that girl. Her and her friends went badass, and every time they found out something, they went to the authorities. That's where May 25th, 25, teenagers were laughing at this like it's funny. Boy, did Bill from the Freemasons run the biggest scam here. Had some guy go in and drug her up and tell her to say that. Can you imagine that? Had another guy videotape her in the shower, washing herself, and photoshopped it in the other room. Ran the biggest scam of who could steal her money. May 26, 25, the cartel comes in. Said we heard they were making into Walmart 62. We found out they were making fun of Bill from the Freemasons' big scam up in Summit Mall of the dirty doctor not being one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. And the whole thing is a scam from Bill. May 30th, 25, the Louisville police are outside my apartment. Found the surveillance of May 26, 25 of the cartel, admitting this whole thing is a scam from Bill from the Freemasons, including the dirty doctor not being one of hers, works for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. And the whole thing is a scam. They found the original case. My ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. One was saying he was an attorney, so it made it legal. And the officer's like, no, it makes it worse illegal. Okay? December, where these people admitted November 23rd, 25, that they had in Summit Mall, Macy's downstairs. We went to her ex. This whole thing is a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was already connected to us. We went to him, asked him if we could run a scam on her, and he said yes if they made sure that he got everything in the divorce. That's where December 1st, 25 comes in. Walmart 62, that other Michelle that was dating an agent that's going badass on them. Okay? Said Michelle showed up in my office, said that these people confessed that this whole thing is a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was involved. And that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. She actually don't know who he is. And that guy Pete that's running his mouth about her, she don't even know who he is. It's just some guy Dave hired on his own. And these people admitted to using hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. And the tape of Weird With Yourself is nothing but photoshopped her washing in the shower in the other room. The whole thing's a scam to extort money from the government. So where that Henry Mafia on January 1926 said, I heard that other Michelle is telling on us for what we're actually doing. But they can't use it. You just confessed, you idiot. He said, I have a George's friend that will let me enter all my tapes in court without the FBI while they're busy with Minnesota. And turn all the cases money over to me. And I'll steal it all for myself and be long gone and pull a fast one on the FBI. Steal all the cases money. Thought over my dead body. I wrote the president. Little freak. Well, the next day at Belleville Village, investigators showed up dying laughing in the hallway. We told you she didn't know what's going on. He admitted he never met her in person. How would you like to move out in the country? 10 miles from town, middle of woods in the middle of farmland. Beautiful. Supposed to be a retirement home. 6 days while you're out, somebody kicked in your door. Your husband's making excuses of a realtor passing out keys, don't report it, nothing's missing. And here he hired drug dealers to kick in your door to stalk you. The well water's orange and chunky. You have to get a water treatment system. It takes months to get it in. Meantime, you have to wash your hands. You have to take a fast shower. Bring in bottled water to cook and drink. By the second week, you got bruises on you. Throwing up, heart racing, severe infected. You're blaming the well water because it's the only thing new to you. Never have anybody in your home. Got orange, lemon, grapefruit-sized bruises. Throwing up, almost passing out. Going to the doctor, is it the well water? Is it toxic? It's orange, it's chunky. You're blaming it. You never see or talk to anybody. The woods we had bees' nests in the ground, other places. We were always getting them in the house. It was nothing to take a broom and swat them. Nothing. And I told Dave, I said, we need to get an exterminator. He said, what are we going to do? Have him spray the whole 5 acres? These people admitted August 4th, August 5th, August 7th, August 31st, and then December 1st, they were using hypnotic drugs. I looked it up. Where at the beginning of the case, they tried to say they had sodium pentothal. They were using truth serum on her. They had the right to drug her to get the truth out of her. Or they were drugging me up. Nobody has a right to drug you. They said, people were talking around me. She don't even remember being stuck in the hallway. I thought, stuck in the hallway? You know, where I would, at times I would just take a shower, dry off, get in bed, go to sleep, wake up with more bruises, even marks that almost look like injection marks, throwing up. In fact, sick, almost passing out. Didn't let anybody in my home. Other mornings, I'd wake up and I'd be fine. I'd get dressed, and I worked like crazy on that house, in the outside. And I would come in, and I'd wash my hands, make something to eat and drink, and I drink a lot of Diet Coke. Pour a glass of Diet Coke. And out of a 2-liter, go in and use the bathroom, wash my hands better, sit down, take a drink, and the room went dizzy and black. They said she don't even remember being stabbed in the hallway. I thought, stabbed in the hallway? Then I thought of the bees. They said that in Walmart 62, they were hiding behind doorways. Reach out, stab me, and leaned back. Where I would be looking for a bee, it was them, injecting me real quick. How not funny is that? I didn't even know they were in my home. Where do you think drug dealers and rapists are funny playing with someone like this? Where do you think human traffickers are funny playing with this? They did it to U.S. Marshals kid twice. She moved out of this area. I met her in 24 at a storage unit. She don't know what happened to her either. She went to Jersey's bar. She took a drink and the room went dizzy and black. She don't know what happened to her the whole night. Waited a while, went to another bar, ordered a drink. The same thing happened, to end up in the hospital. Don't even know how she got out of the bar. She was moving out of the area for safety. My co-worker, Dar, she had a set of twins, and one had died, and her friends got a babysitter for the surviving one. And we took her out, and she's out at a bar crying. They gave her some space. She ordered a drink, took a drink out of a drink. It's the last thing she remembers. They said a group of people came up they didn't know. She was talking and acting fine. When she left with them, because she was talking and acting fine, they didn't think anything of it. She found herself outside in a Bottle B. She only remembers taking a drink. Got herself home, throwing up, dizzy. 2 months later, she went back to the doctor. They said that she was pregnant again. She said, how could I be pregnant? I've not had sex with anybody. They had raped her and redressed her. Said, it's not that I don't love my son, but I don't know what happened to me. My neighbor Mike got the same thing in a bar. Only remember the second beer. Didn't know how he got home. Didn't know how he got money in his pocket. Didn't know what was in the box with mustard. Didn't know how he changed his shoes, and tried to tell me he was a New York cop and thought I was pretty. He's stoned out of his mind. Kept telling him to go sleep it off. I'm like, oh my God, somebody roofied him. If you look up hypnotic drugs, they work in less than a minute. They are sleepwalking. Dangers of using them, because you walk, you talk, eat, drink, cook, drive a car, you can have sex, and you don't remember anything. They're mind-controlling drugs. They used on me at Faith Family Church in 19 in front of the cops and feds. Hypnotic drugs. My new husband, Carl, his daughter, Audrey, was watching this, her and her husband was watching this thing on the cartel. It's their drug of choice. They load up syringes, go to raves, big parties, walk around, stab, walk by, stab kids they want. Real quick, stab them, keep walking. While they're looking around, what bit me, what stuck me. And they're already out of their eyesight. Wait a minute, go back and they'll leave with them willingly. How would you like to know? Like where this guy showed up at Myers, North Maine. Do you realize how horrible it is for her? To realize she's been raped by men she's never met. And people making fun of her for it. People need to stop going down the rabbit hole of that prostitute that laughs at everybody that they're scamming people. See, that's where law enforcement, if an opposing attorney shows up with a doctor saying something bad about me, what by federal law are you to do? Arrest them. Simple. You're to call the Bar Association and you are to call the medical board. They both lost their license. They're not allowed to be together. It's a federal crime. And what is the personal liberty law of 1867? It outlawed it. If somebody is actually really mentally ill, it is federal law. You have to be transferred to a state hospital for treatment. They get a hold of the courts, and it is mandatory you have a competency hearing. They took it out of the hands of doctors that were taking payoffs by husbands and writing up fraud on wives in 1867. It is mandatory law that the patients are taken to a state facility, state hospital. They get a hold of the courts, and a competency jury trial is mandatory. You can't just pay someone to write up fraud. They can't be with them where they say an opposing attorney found a doctor willing to talk to them. That's a federal crime, and they both lose their license. They are to report them to the Bar Association and the medical board. And then everything's already documented fraud. Where that lady on July 8th, 26th was outside Walmart in Alliance. She said, I feel bad about everything. She said, I wish I wouldn't have said anything to her son. I found out that girl that was laughing in the restaurant, she stole all the money. She admitted that they hired drug dealers to do this to her, and they photoshopped washing in the shower to make her look weird with herself. No wonder her son didn't know anything about it. It's done by drug dealers. And he said that his dad had told him that he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete in his mentor home, and he had her tape saying that filthy, dirty statement. And it has to be some drug dealer, where that prostitute said it was drug dealers in her home. So where he said he hired some guy named Pete on his own, that Pete has to be a drug dealer, where that prostitute said they were hiring drug dealers to be there. I've never met him. Never talked to him. You know, last month in Walmart on the Strip, people are like, this whole thing's a bitch move. Breaking in and drugging somebody up and telling them to say something like that. Photoshopping, washing, mean games of pretend. This whole thing's a bitch move. March 20th, 26th, Walmart West test by the electronics. They tape an audio in every aisle. I found out through Walmart employees, they keep their tapes for years. It's Walmart. Investigator from 18. He's in there. He's being real loud. He said, I haven't found out one bit of this funny since that family admitted they were lying to the FBI. That it offended him, strange calling her a faker. Okay? And that they were all lying to the FBI. I didn't believe one bit she ever threatened Kitty. I didn't even talk to Kitty in years. Only said hi to her in 2011. Last year in Walmart 62, investigators were talking. We told all these people to stop lying in 2018. They were saying Karen was threatening all these people. We started following people around. Karen was at home working on the house or out with her family. Dave was supposed to be at work. He's going out with all these women. Karen had no idea he was cheating. We told him to stop lying in 2018. If Karen would have known about all those women, she would have divorced him in a heartbeat. December 9th, 18, I take Dave, I've never caught him with anyone. He verified it. There was no one to threaten. I wouldn't have wasted my breath anyways. I would have screamed at him and divorced him. And Katie, what was it, about a month or two ago, I was down in Dutch Valley restaurant. Girls are in there talking. Katie says that she never threatened her. She was getting even with her because when she went to that church, she didn't give her the time of day. And then we found out she was cheating with her sister's husband. And that's why they avoided her. Nobody blamed her for avoiding her. Her sister wouldn't stand up for herself, and they were trying to stay out of everything. We found out it was 15 years from the case and 23 years from now. And nobody should ever help Katie. Asking people to get even with her because she went and talked to her because she was cheating with her sister's husband. Some girls like, boy, I'd give her an earphone. You can't give her an earphone. Her sister wouldn't stand up for herself. Had to stay out of it. But she confessed to all those people down there that I had never threatened her. Never even seen her. I had never even talked to her. See, that's where the whole thing of it is. I didn't go to their church since 2003. 2011, rumors and crazy stuff is getting to me. And I haven't been part of that church in 8 years. 8 years. Went over to Frances. I said, where is all this coming from? Well, Mary hates you. That's Katie's mom. I said, why would she hate me? I haven't seen her in 8 years. She starts laughing, smiling like the Grinch that stole Christmas. She said, is that what's going on? I said, what's going on? You don't know? No, what? She's like, never mind. They're laying on people they haven't seen or talked to. I went over and visited twice in 2011, around 2011. Find out why people were saying stuff, thinking somebody come up and say something. They didn't. I go back to the place, give me nightmares. I told you how that minister, when he thought I was following Tim and Kitty, took my kid and pushed him to suicide. I hated that place. I wanted nothing to do with him. Nothing. Well, Dave in 2011 came home and he sexually assaulted me and he beat me till I was bloody. And I broke free from him. The time I got cleaned up, rivers of tears. Why? You learn to keep your filthy mouth shut. I said, filthy mouth shut. Danny picked up the kids an hour ago. I've been sitting here waiting for you. He looked like he was going to puke. He quit his church. We already avoided Katie. We started walking on the other side of the kiosk in the mall from where her store was. If we didn't get a chance to get on the other side of the kiosk, we didn't say anything when we walked by, so she could never say we said anything. We had nothing to do with her. No address, no phone number, nothing to do with her whatsoever. Okay? Well, people had been saying crazy stuff and about, now here she's cheating with Tim for years. We're going into decades now. And somebody had said that Katie told people he left me for her and moved out and he's still at home. And we go to walk into Macy's and this is 2011. I said, Dave, are you cheating with that girl? He said, Karen, I'd rather kiss a cow's butt than that fat, ugly heifer. Why laugh at his mean joke? Okay. I said, Dave, are you cheating with that girl? He said, Karen, she's pathetic, making up stories for people's attention, making up stories that a married man would leave his wife for her as if she's nothing but pathetic. Okay? Would she know what he said in Macy's by the purses when she works down the mall? No. Can she hear us? No. The only way she would even know of his mean joke of 2011 as if he told her and I dared laugh. It was his joke, not mine. We didn't talk to her. Now, before 2011, around that time, if she would, before that happened, and he quit his church, if she would have walked by and said hi, we would have said hi. Just acknowledge. We avoided her even more like the plague. Wanted nothing to do with her. Hadn't talked to her. She's not my social group. Don't go to her church. Don't have her phone number. Don't have her address. We have nothing to do with these people. Nothing. Where they said that they were connected to Dave. When you find out it's her family. Where Anita and Pam were talking before the case started. Mary's niece, Michelle, was willing to kill someone just to date Dave. And just for the opportunity to date Dave. Dave was excited and never had anybody willing to kill someone just to date him. That poor family that's in debt. Right? Where that prostitute admitted it was her family debt to drug dealers. September 30th, 25. That biker brought her down. I guess she was sitting around laughing how they got away with this. Made the wrong people mad. September 30th, 25, after 1 o'clock in the morning, there's a biker outside my work screaming at her. Guys running, said no one's to say a word to her again in her life. They found out this whole thing was your family's debt to drug dealers. Is that what's going on? Yes. Does she even know who you are? No, I don't want her to know. She don't even know you had her raped and tortured or skull bashed in because you were in debt to drug dealers? Yes, I'm sorry. Listen to her and her friend Matt, January 13th, 23, talk about that the Ohio drug dealers were threatening that agent's life for all those people being human trafficked. And it was your family letting them be human trafficked, and your family even human trafficked people to pay off those debts to drug dealers. Yes, I'm sorry. Was your family that incited her new husband's family to threaten her new husband's life to take his farm? Well, yeah, but I really wanted it, that farm. I like it. Like, it makes it okay. She don't care who she hurts. She admitted to selling children. Did you know the original cartel already admitted they photoshopped everything by 23? Yeah, I knew that. Did you know they confronted her ex-husband if he knew it was medication errors, medical malpractice, and fraud? And they encouraged them to sue those doctors for years? Yeah, I knew that. Then you go to like March or April of 18. Dave had me go to a restaurant. We never go. Insisted on going. We go in. There's a couple by the window, and then there's an old couple. They set us by the old couple. This blonde girl, 1,800 pounds, walks by, goes, sits down, Pam! Does he think it's funny bringing her here? I said, Dave, who is that? He's like, I don't know. Pam! The back of my booth. I said, Dave, who is that? He's like, I don't know. And that old couple starts talking about Dave. I said, who are those people? They seem to know you. She hits the back of my booth so hard, boom, to the point it knocks me on the table. Dave's like, are you okay? I said, yeah, but who are those people? He's like, I don't know. I said, do you want to leave? He said, Karen, we've already ordered our food. And I said, can I sit with you? He said, yes. And he wraps his arms around me when I sit on his side. I said, who are those people? He's like, I don't know. And he gives him like a death stare. We get home, he tells Danny, he said, some crazy blonde girl was throwing her body in the back of Mom's booth. Yeah. Where Katie was breaking in 18, that everybody was stealing for her. I have Dave taped several times of admitting that when I called the FBI hotline, that Katie was leaving threats in the mall with 3 people I knew. That it was her church trying to kill me. They had men to do away with me, men to teach me a lesson I'd never forget. And a permanent plan to do away with me. And she was telling people in the mall that before the case started. I told Aline and the witnesses. She was bragging after the case started, everybody was stealing for her. It's her family. Where I was up in Summit Mall a couple months ago, some of the cartel girls were up there. They said, boy, did that other girl tell on them. Well, it's just Katie's family trying to steal for themselves. I was where they, the guys, when the case first started, I was the perfect victim. I keep to myself. I was taking care of Dave, my kids, my grandkids. Living my life, had nothing to do with that church. Had no connections, no communication. Okay? Didn't know my husband was cheating. He's supposed to be working overtime. And I'm busy working on my new retirement home. Okay? Where that prostitute said that's on June 26, that's the one that the guys picked out. They call it making fun of somebody when they harm them. That the guys picked out to make fun of, for them to steal everything for me. Where they said she was the perfect one that we picked out in 1890. Nobody ever calls her. Nobody ever comes sees her. Nobody checks on her. We can isolate her alone even more. She's the perfect person to do this to. We could kill her and nobody would know for a long time. We could even take her and they wouldn't even know she was gone for a long time. She's the perfect person to do this to. Nobody cares about her. Since nobody cares about her, she's the perfect person to do this to. I was handpicked because they thought they could get away with it, because they didn't think anybody cared. And where they said they were connected to Dave, Dave was supposed to be dating Katie's cousin, her family member. Get the idea. Cheating on me with her. And the only way she would ever know if Dave's mean joke, and I dared laugh in 2011. It was his mean joke. See if he told her. She'd never know. We never talked to her. We had no communication. We had no contact. We had our own lives away from the cult. We had nothing to do with that family or those people. But they thought I was the perfect, and they'd say stuff like that in front of the FBI in place that they picked me out. That I was a perfect person to do this for. We actually found somebody nobody cares about. We found a person that we could do all this to, and nobody would find out. We found a perfect person. We could even kill her and they wouldn't even know for a long time. We could even take her and they wouldn't even know till it's too late. They'd say stuff like that. They personally picked me because they thought they could isolate me alone and get away with it. Or they said they went to Dave and asked him if they could do it to me. And he said yes. They made sure he got everything in the divorce. The scam. Where last week on July 5th, 26, between 2:30 and 3, I pull in, there's a guy outside my apartment yelling. The drug lord found out that guy they call Henry Muffy, his kid was laughing in a restaurant, that she stole all her money. She was never to get a dime of it. She was to date that agent to get him to throw that case. that he'd open and be thrown out for fraud, and the drug dealers that were arrested could sue the government for false arrest under fraud for tens of millions of dollars for false arrest under fraud. It was for the drug dealers to get the money, not for her, and not a person like her. At the beginning of the case, big drug dealers will walk around me in Walmart 62. She'll learn not to spend another man's money. She'll learn not to take another man's money, while the thief and whore hasn't learned anything. This whole thing was a scam and an attack on the FBI. Get a agent to open a case. Scare me into calling them have an agent open a case. Get him to defraud the victim and get it thrown out. And then the drug dealers sue for tens of millions of dollars each. It will cost the government, if they do not fix it, $10 to $25 billion. Over 1,000 to 2,500 drug dealers went to jail off this. Like they said, she was part of a really, really big bust. That's why I offered to write up a statement, or them write up a statement, I'd sign it, that I was willing to stay there while they surveillance me. Willing to know that I could be facing bodily harm or death while they were surveillancing me, while they got these people. Knowing that the agency alone would pay me for being an informant while they surveillance and for compensating my injuries, but was willing to help them. And knowing my rights of the First Amendment, that agent does not have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. He was only bullying me. And that the agency would be taking care of it. Like that people said they need to take her off her, because it takes them from them defrauding her to a willing worker. And then it seals the deal. You know, these people, years ago, they were yelling stuff at me, and they yelled at me, you used amnesia drugs on her. What part of amnesia drugs she'll never remember. And you drugged her and told her to say it before, so they yelled it at me, and I ran and threw up and had diarrhea at the same time. I went to my neighbor, Jim, he said, Karen, that'd be horrible if somebody played with you like that. I said, never seen her talk to anybody, never had anybody in my home. He said, Karen, that'd be horrible. I said, I have real bruises, real throwing up, really infected, migraine headache, was seen by the doctor for all that. And he said, Karen, that'd be terrible. I said, they're laughing at me in front of people in stores. They did that to me. Okay? Alright, Danny and Jen did not know about the shower scene in the other room because it's photoshopped by drug dealers. My son John did not know about the drugs and told to say it either. On June 3rd, 23, my son John was an electrician in this area. He worked for the union rep, had several offices, had thousands of connections. He also taught college, and he was a manager of several places, knows thousands of electricians. He told all of them, I'll tell you what, June 3rd, 23, some electricians pulling around me. Said, isn't that John's mom? He said she's never hurt anyone. Because of these people, he may never see his mom again. I know, and that's his mom. It's just because of these people, and he said that she's never hurt anyone. Like they said down in Magnolia a week ago, we found out they made everything up on her. Found out her son John ran around telling everyone that she had never hurt anyone. July 26, 25, investigator from 18 comes in between 8 and 10 in the morning in Walmart 62. I told that couple never say a word to her again. I interviewed John years ago, 18. He said nothing bad ever happened to him. They went to Dr. Greg Haben. They announced it last year on June 7th. The kid's his pediatrician for 18 years. That he verified there was no neglect, no abuse, and very well taken care of. MD proof nobody was ever harmed. On Thanksgiving of 18, when I asked John what's going on, he didn't know. He said that he had told his ex-wife, Melissa, that we were going through a divorce and moving out, and she just had the kids make up something and the church people because of the divorce, but don't worry about it, Mom. Nobody could ever say anything bad about you. Defends me several times. Melissa got caught friends with a prostitute, telling the kids a lie, and there's two guys that said they worked for the drug lord. Said Melissa was willing to help him get away with it, to have the kids lie. You're kidding. No, I told her to say, pfft. So they followed her around and caught her telling the kids a lie. And then on Thanksgiving of 18, illegally bugged house, that the house wasn't meant for Grandma, it was meant for Auntie Shell and Papa. Grandma needs to get out. And then later on the floor, they were making everything up. They were games to pretend. I found out sick shit. That's what was the mean jokes. I didn't even know about them for a year when Flora stated them. Of course, it never happened. Of course, it wasn't true. We made it up. They were games to pretend. They called Melissa out, the police and the FBI, right after Thanksgiving of 18. Why are they having those kids make that shit up? Oh, they're just trying to scare her out of giving up the house. That's it. Her whole family speaking highly of her. And Melissa's so stupid, she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's actually that stupid. She didn't check where you were. Like the Stark County Sheriff said last Sunday, we all know Melissa's kids got taped saying that they made everything up. I got all this other stuff taped too. How it's a big scam to extort money from the government. I'm going to go ahead and upload this.